Miami's defense was a mess versus the Lakers on Sunday night. Couldn't get stops consistently enough, wasting yet another incredible effort from Jaime Jaquez Jr. We'll break down the game and answer your questions on tonight's episode of Locked On Heat.
You are Locked On Heat, your daily Miami Heat podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
All right, welcome back to Locked On Heat, your daily podcast on the Miami Heat. Whether you're tuning in on YouTube or on your favorite podcast app, thanks for making Locked On Heat your first listen every day. Join the Cookie Gang and become an everydayer by hitting that subscribe button. Today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use the code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. I'm Wes Goldberg, host of Real GM Radio and Locked On NBA Daily. I'm here with David Ramil, both of us credentialed Heat media members who cover this team every day. Got a ton to get to today, including what Erik Spoelstra needs to do with Kel'el Ware. We also have highlight performances from Jaime Jaquez Jr. and some others. Recording this late here Sunday night, very late, technically Monday morning, David, after the Heat's loss to the Lakers. 130-120 is your final score. My takeaway from this one, David, is we could talk everything we want about Erik Spoelstra's new offensive system and how great it is, the no ball screens, all this stuff. A new system can't make up for the fact that they're missing their two best perimeter scorers. And they came into this game without a single player who averaged even 20 points per game last year. And trying to keep up with a Lakers offense that features Luka Doncic, who went off for a triple-double in his game, and then big games from guys like Austin Reeves, who wasn't even that good, and Jake LaRavia off the bench. But trying to keep up with this high-powered Lakers offense without two of your top scorers, there's just not much you can do. And I look at two key stats that really stand out to me in this game that just prove to me, like, doesn't really matter what you do if you're not going to be able to put the ball in the hoop efficiently. They go 9 for 33 from three-point range without Norm Powell or Tyler Hero in the lineup. Not that surprising. They also missed 11 free throws in a 10-point game. And, you know, you and I during our Blue Notebook series talk a lot about free throw shooting and how that's a good indicator of just general shooting ability. Same goes in the NBA. And the fact that this team missed 11 free throws in a 10-point game just shows you they didn't have a lot of their good shooters out there in this one because they were injured. So that's my big takeaway from this one. It's you can only do so much with a system. You got to have the players too.
No doubt. I think you're missing key offensive components like Powell, specifically because we haven't seen what Hero can do this season or how he's going to fit into this offense, although we expect that he'll be a pretty seamless fit. But I've got to be honest with you, I'm a little surprised because to me, as much as their offense may have needed that boost, their defense to me was the problem. Like watching this team give up point after point, like I think we're going to talk about the Kel'el Ware situation here, but they did a fairly good job of holding this Lakers offense pretty consistently along the perimeter, only shooting 32% overall. Doncic was 1 of 11. I think Reeves was 4 of, I don't even know, 100. It seems like every time he had the opportunity to knock down a three-pointer, he just couldn't seem to do so. So I think Miami did a pretty good job overall defensively. It was where they were giving up points in the paint, giving up points in the rim, specifically to Jake LaRavia, who looked like he was just making exactly the right cuts. He was always there for the right rebound, able to finish at a high level there. And I think their defense was a problem. Now, we know that this team's offense is tied to their defense. They're able to generate fast break opportunities, be able to force turnovers that could lead to easier transition buckets, maybe get better looks at the rim where this team has thrived, etc. But they still put up 120 points. It just wasn't enough because they couldn't shut down this Lakers offense. They couldn't stop them in key moments down the stretch where they cut that lead down to, I think, was it 4 at one point? Or 2, really?
It was 2 at the end of the second quarter. Yeah,
it was 2. Yeah,
and 4 near the beginning of the fourth quarter.
Yeah, so they had the opportunity there, but they just kept giving up runs, and they gave up a big run at the end too, where it seemed like they might be able to pull out a victory. And instead, they wound up looking like it could have been easily just a blowout at the end of the game. There, I mean, they were down by more than 10 points, and by that point, the Lakers really took their foot off the gas, and it was a pretty well decided victory for them.
So the defense gave up 123.8 points per 100 possessions, which is obviously not good. That Miami scored only 114.3 points per 100 possessions, obviously not good. That would be in the 51st percentile. Defensively, that's in the 80th percentile, which is on the wrong side of where you want to be. when you're talking about giving up points. So yeah, you're like offensively it wasn't great, defensively it wasn't great. I'm of the mindset that because the Lakers were able to just get out and run off of so many missed threes, the offense was just so much easier for them.
That's
and
fair.
they also haven't really played a guy like Luka this season. Like, that guy is just a machine. And even Bam got juked out of his socks at one point. Like, and I don't even like. I'm not even mad. I'm just impressed. You know, that's just Luka Doncic, right? Like, he's just gonna do that against everybody. I thought that, look, if you just make your free throws, this is a game, right? Like, as ugly as it looked at times defensively, and it definitely did, it's gonna look ugly against this Lakers offense sometimes. Against Luka Doncic, it's just, you're gonna get punked every once in a while. But you got to control what you can control, and making your free throws. And look, I mean, do you really expect to go 9 of 33 from 3-point range every night? Andrew Wiggins goes 1 for 6. Bam goes 1 for 5. Pelle goes 1 for 4. Simone Fontecchio, boy, what a terrible night for him. 2 of 8 overall. Jovic goes 1 of 5 overall. Like, you got threes by the guys that you want taking threes who were at least available. But again, I'm looking at this offense and I'm thinking, it doesn't really feel like there's anybody offensively that's striking fear in that Lakers defense. Nobody that, like, the thing that they fear most is Erik Spoelstra on the sideline because of the system that he put together. But in terms of guys on the court, they weren't scared of anybody. And I think even like having Norm Powell and or Tyler Hero out there, the spacing was so out of whack in this one. Like, they were not afraid of Davion Mitchell and Pelle Larsson from beyond the arc, even a little bit. No. To even have a little bit of floor spacing, I think would have made all the difference in the world. And then look, this is a Heat team that they're always going to tell you our defense powers our offense. But the way that this team is built, like, that offense kind of is the identity of this team right now. And without it, I just felt like they didn't really have anything tonight.
Yeah, I think their offense kind of just fell apart. I think to say it looked clunky might be an understatement. And without their top shooters out there, it just seemed like they went away from the concepts that had led to some success this season. I think they ran a lot more of their standard pick and roll based offense rather than just trying to get those good transition opportunities or kind of swinging the ball. I think even during the broadcast, they pointed out that there just hadn't been much ball movement. There were some good off-ball cuts, particularly from Jaime. I think Larsson had a couple. You know, so there were some smart plays here and there where it was kind of reminiscent of what we had seen earlier in the season, or at least over the last few games. And yet, I think overall, the Lakers did a pretty good job of flattening Miami's offense yet again. And this is the second night we've seen this. The first time you can credit that to the Wembanyama factor and how he kind of shaped everything defensively. They didn't have that same rim protection, and yet because Miami just wasn't able to generate easy looks from the perimeter, it seemed like they had taken away a major advantage there, and they just had to say, you know what, we can't seem to get any points from out in the 3-point range. Let's try and do something differently and running more pick and roll to see if they might be able to get some better looks in the painted area. That really wasn't the case. They just struggled offensively. It was not great. And then once you do that and can't get to your points in the way that you're accustomed to, I think it all fell apart. We saw a lot more zone defense too. So they were trying anything and it just didn't seem like it worked. This was more.
We saw a full court press in the first half too from this defense. I mean, they were trying that. I want to give credit. I want to go back to a point you made before. I want to give credit to the Lakers defense. I thought they did a really nice job in this game. Like you said, like flattening out Miami's system. They did a really nice job of denying the first and second pass, like that first easy pass option, which is kind of the thing that you need to get into that motion offense, right? Like Miami wants to bring the ball up and kind of get it into that corner and then start that rotation around the court. And the Lakers defense did a really good job of denying the wings to Miami's shooters, ball movers, whatever, offensive players. They did a nice job fronting in the post, whether it was Bam or Kel'el Ware, or even Wiggins, right? We know that Miami also wants to kind of get that post entry pass so that guys can kind of work off of that a little bit. They just did a really good job. I got to give credit to them and JJ Redick for coaching them up and scouting them. We knew that this was going to be the case. As teams got more film on this new Heat offense, they were going to figure out ways to be like, okay, these couple of things, if we can kind of stop this one trigger, maybe we could throw a wrench into this scheme a little bit here. But again, a lot of that is a lot easier when you're not worried about the guy bringing the ball up. When it was Davion Mitchell or Pelle Larsson bringing the ball up, the Lakers defense was able to just sort of play off those guys and deny passing lanes. If that's Norm Powell bringing the ball up, You can't do that. He's live for a pull-up jumper, for a pull-up three, and he's really good at it. Tyler Hero, ditto. Again, we think this is the thing he can bring to this offense. And when you come into a game without anybody who averaged 20 points last year,
Yeah.
it's an uphill battle. So the fact that the Heat were even in this game at any point, it almost felt like a miracle. And it was only because the Lakers were in the bonus in this game with 5 minutes left. I mean, they could not stop fouling the Heat, and I think that is actually a credit to the system and the pace that kind of threw him off balance a little bit there, though. But you mentioned Jaime Jaquez Jr. a little bit earlier. He was one of the few positives for the Heat in this game. We're going to talk about what we saw from him and who joined him in terms of our positive takeaways after this.
Today's episode is brought to you by Robinhood. Your ambition just met its match. With Robinhood, you play for the win, not just on game day, every day. Locking in on every morning, beating your PR, beating it again. Channel that drive into your money. Robinhood puts you in control of your money. Trade stocks and ETFs, options, futures, and crypto all on one platform. You can now build and execute your own trades from a desktop with Robinhood Legends advanced tools, or take advantage of the new Robinhood strategies with a tailored portfolio managed by a team of experts. You expect more from yourself. Expect more from your money. Get started today at Robinhood.com/yourmoney. Again, that's Robinhood.com/yourmoney. Your money, your move. Today's episode is also brought to you by Game Time. Basketball season's officially here, and nothing beats being in the arena for those opening games. But let's be real, the prices that jump right before checkout traded when all you want to do is cheer on your team. And that's where Game Time comes in, the app that gives fans the advantage. It's your ultimate life hack for scoring amazing NBA tickets fast, easy, and stress-free. You'll love that what you see is what you pay. There's no hidden fees at checkout. You see exactly the price, and you know that's what you're going to have to pay. Plus, you can see exactly what your view looks like before you buy the tickets with their in-app seat view feature. Really convenient, especially going to a new venue where you're not sure exactly what kind of a view you're going to get of the court or the stage or whatever it is that you're going to go see in live. Their zone deals are a game changer. You pick the section, and Game Time picks your seats. You save big. You can even find NBA tickets for as low as $25. Take the guesswork out of buying NBA tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use the code LOCKEDONNBA. You get $20 off your first purchase. Terms do apply, but that's code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off. Swipe, tap, ticket, go. We'll be right back.
Thanks again for making Locked On Heat your first listen every day. Let's talk about some players who did impress us in this game. We got to start with Jaime Jaquez Jr. What a game from him. 31 points, a season high for him, 11 of 16 shooting overall. Got to the line 13 times, made 9 of his free throws, so he was not the problem there. 8 rebounds, 4 assists. Tremendous overall. The stat sheet says what it says, David, but just moreover, when you talk about guys who needed to step up and really embrace this up-tempo, no ball screen offense, it was Jaime in this game. There were times in this game where it just felt like he was doing it by himself, that he was like the leader of the troops kind of running into battle and then turned around and like nobody was with him. That's just sort of what it felt like a lot of this game.
Too often that was the case. He seemed like the only player that wasn't shaken by what the Lakers were trying to do defensively, just because his game is so uniquely suited for Miami's revamped offense. He was just getting the rebound and just, you know what? He gets downhill as quickly as possible. He brings the ball up, looking to attack. And once he's there in the paint, especially with a defense that was kind of spread out, even, because he's so willing to take advantage of those transition opportunities in a way that I don't think anybody else in the roster really is, especially without Norm Powell there. He was just really able to attack early on. He looked like he was just really comfortable, got into a great rhythm. Certainly looking to, make a statement against a team that he rooted for when he was younger, growing up in the South California
he always
area.
Gets up for these Lakers games and the Clippers games too. We'll see.
Let's hope so.
Yeah,
he's got a big matchup tomorrow night. So that's or tonight, depending on what you're listening to. So this is it was a big game for Jaime. He looks really impressive. And I like even more than after a game that he struggled against in the Spurs.
Yeah.
He looked like he really figured it out too. And again, credit to the Spurs for figuring out how to limit those roster. That was the key aggressive.
Again, not to go into another metaphor and just make this my whole thing here, but like those wind up cars that you wind up, you hold it in your hand, you wind it up, and then like they're like the wheels are like kind of ready to move, but you're holding the wheels
Yep.
down until you put it down on the ground, and then it just speeds off. When Jaime Jaquez Jr. checks in halfway through that first quarter, when he usually checks in like around like 6 minutes in, that's exactly what happened. Like he checked in on a dead ball, comes in, and just immediately takes down the court off of a make, and is like hair flowing behind him, and then just is at the and the Lakers were just like, whoa, what just happened? Like, how did this guy have so much energy right away? Just like he was like up here, and then Spo put him in, and he's just like zoom, just right to the basket. He's been so impressive. And the playmaking is a big part of it. Him embracing what the system is and just buying in fully into it. And I think a big thing about the system that we don't talk about enough is that ability to create free throw attempts, right? Because the idea is that you're getting the defense on its heels, they get caught reaching, and next thing you know, you're at the line, you're at the rim. Miami's kind of average in terms of three-point shooting volume, and I think that's fine because if they're going to be able to generate threes at the free throw line, right, the and one opportunities, then everything's going to work out, I think, in terms of that. And we saw like that kept them in this game when it felt like for a lot of this, they had no business being in this game, right? Just it felt like the Lakers were up 11 for 80% of this game. But then every once in a while, Miami would kind of claw back into it. And Jaime Jaquez Jr. always was kind of a part of those big runs. The other guy that we got to talk about, though, is Pelle Larsson. What a game from him. I'm so impressed. He, first of all, steps into Norm Powell's starting job here. And I think has just been overall more effective than I think we would have anticipated Pelle Larsson to be in that spot because he doesn't, first of all, play anything like Norm Powell, but he kind of comes in and just adds his own little thing to the mix, and he's such a value add guy. David, he does my favorite thing. He does stuff. He's just always doing stuff. For stat line wise, 17 points, 6 and 10 shooting, 5 rebounds, 6 assists in this game. He comes in right away at the beginning of this game, and he has a couple of really nice, well-timed cuts. He might be my top 3 in terms of just cutting ability on the roster already. That might be overstating it. I don't know. He's really got a really elite natural feel for and timing on these cuts. But what really impressed me was the hit-ahead passes. And he had a nice lob to Bam at one point. But always, like Jaime, pushing the pace. He seems really dedicated to this new scheme.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I do like the off-ball movement best, but I think it's also kind of just a great recognition from him how to take advantage of certain opportunities, whether it's a seam of the defense or even breaking down somebody off the dribble. Like he just understands how to maximize what's like. Is he overall incredibly athletic? Sure, but at the NBA level, maybe not quite as others, and so he has to play a little bit more smartly. And I think we're also seeing an evolution from him from his rookie season, where I think he's been pretty solid in terms of limiting his fouls. Like he's not getting as caught in as much as he was. We're trying to use that overt physicality to try to shake an opponent or anything like that, or trying to defend somebody a little bit more physically. And so I think he's done a really good job of that. But the passing was also great. Really smart in terms of, well, maybe I can draw a defender here, but I can make the next pass or maybe even give the hockey assist pass where it leads to an easier score because we keep moving the ball. If there was one player, I think, who was dedicated to the overall concept of ball movement, it was probably Pelle more than anybody else. And I think he just didn't get enough help in that department. So as much as Jaime was able to contribute some really solid individual scoring by relentlessly attacking the basket, you got a lot more smart plays from Pelle, and he was able to do a lot of the ball movement stuff that has really helped Miami's offense be as good as it has been this season.
We're going to talk about Kel'el and maybe some other players that struggled here in a second, but the way Larsson has played, and I agree sort of with the fouling thing, it still is sometimes an issue that can limit his minutes, right? He got called for 4 fouls in this game. I thought 2 of them were pretty ticky-tack that I don't necessarily think I agreed with, but they got called on him they got called against him, regardless. So it is what it is. But when this, I don't know if this roster will ever be fully healthy, but let's say it is. I don't know that you could take Larsson out of the rotation. The way he just fits is so seamless. And I don't know if this is the time to have the conversation of who do you pull out, but he's just a guy who just makes stuff happen, has a unique feel for what this system is, brings something unique to it in terms of the unselfishness, doesn't really need the ball, ability to move off the ball, brings that toughness, the passing, the hit-ahead passes, all that stuff. like he brings something to the table, and he's just one of those energy guys that just kind of makes this stuff click, like a glue guy, a connector guy.
Yeah.
And those guys are really important, especially in a scheme like this that's asking for so much of that connective tissue to make it work. So we'll see. So good games from Jaime, good games from Pelle. Not such a great game from Kel'el Ware. Struggled again in this one, and Erik Spoelstra sent another message to his big man. We'll talk about it next.
Today's episode is brought to you by Rougiette. Let's be real, making excuses doesn't solve anything. We've all heard them before. It's just stress. I'm tired, or it happens to everyone sometimes. But when it comes to performance, sometimes your body just needs a little extra support. And that's where Rougiette comes in. Rougiette.com offers fast-acting doctor-prescribed treatments for ED, designed to help you stop making excuses and start making moves. Rougiette makes it easy to get started. You just connect with a board-certified doctor 100% online. No awkward waiting rooms, no in-person appointments. If prescribed, your treatment ships discreetly straight to your door. The process is fast, simple, and private, and it's all handled by real doctors. It's all about confidence, connection, and getting back to the moments that matter. So visit rugiet.com/LockedOnNBA and get 15% off your first order. That's rugiet.com/LockedOnNBA. And don't forget to use our code LockedOnNBA so they know we sent you. Rougiette, stop making excuses and start making moves. We'll be right back.
Kel'el Ware really struggled in this one. He was a -10 in his first 6 minutes, and we didn't see him again until the end of the third quarter when Miami was down double digits, and Erik Spoelstra just seemed to be searching for anything at that point. And to Ware's credit, he came in, immediately got a block, played a little bit better than he did in the first stint that he did, and Miami made a run, and Ware was a part of that. So I want to give credit where it's due, but overall, he really struggled. You called him out after the San Antonio game, did not have a good game in that one. He's been a big part of Miami's losing streak right now, right? Like this is a guy who there was a lot of expectations on him. We have seen Erik Spoelstra coach him hard in the past, and I think we saw another message at Kel'el Ware, and we're recording this right after the buzzer, so we're not even I'm not even checking on like what the press conference is and whether or not he's going to say anything there, but I'm assuming he's going to be asked about Kel'el, and I'll be interested to see what he says, because what he did, he sent another message. He sent a message in the middle of this game. He pulled them with 6 minutes after he was a -10, did not see the floor again, and probably would not have seen the floor again unless the Heat were desperate the way that they were. And we don't really see Erik Spoelstra do that to that degree. We don't see Spo pull a guy from the starting lineup and then not start him in the second half very often. But at that point, I think the game was already getting out of hand a little bit, and Erik Spoelstra knew like there was no sort of token Luke Babbitt minutes to give away at the beginning of the second half. Like this team needed to claw back into the game. And so Ware was on the bench to start the second half. Jaime Jaquez Jr. got the start in the second half. And I think that was a very clear message to Kel'el that, you know, like this is just another version of Erik Spoelstra coaching him hard.
Yeah, I get it. At the same time, I wonder if it's just promoting Jaime because he had been so effective in the first half too. Was it really more of a demotion to Khalil or more of a promotion of Jaime and trying to put your 5 best players on the floor? Either way, I think Khalil did struggle, and then he came back after the demotion or whatever, removal from the starting unit to begin the third quarter. And you did see him make more impact plays at that point in time. So in his brief second half stint, he was a little bit more effective. But I also tend to wonder, was it the right move? Because I think you and I both agree, like he did look really bad out there. But given how Miami was giving up all those paint points, would Ware have made an impact? It's kind of hard to say because he does have that natural shot blocking ability. Maybe he could have limited Jackson Hayes. I don't know. Because like in the first quarter, Jackson Hayes took his lunch money and was just absolutely bullying him. So I don't know that Ware would have responded quickly enough or well enough to have really made a difference against, say, a Jake LaRavia monster performance. But it's clear that he needs to be better out there. And he's also just not getting the opportunity. And it's kind of like he has to realize it's like you've got a chance here when you start these games. You've got to make an impact right away. And if you're getting dogged the way he was today by Hayes, then you know what? That opportunity is squandered. You don't get to play more because now all of a sudden, early in the game, they were now like 10 points very, very quickly. And that's not good enough. So you need to be able to be a little bit more consistent, a little bit more effective right away. He was just sleepwalking a little bit defensively. Like Hayes just seemed like such a much more engaged player, even knocking down a 3-pointer, a wide open 3-pointer after Kel'el probably sagged off into the paint a little bit more than he had to try. He was pulled off by, I guess it was Reeves who wound up kicking it out, or maybe it was Doncic. I can't recall at this point in time. But either way, it was a wide open Jackson Hayes who knocked down a 3-pointer. And you just weren't getting anything out of Ware until he was returned again in the second half. So is it going to make any difference? I don't know. Like he can't wait until midway through the third quarter or at whatever point he did get reinserted into the game to officially say, you know what, I'm ready to play. I'm going to be able to make a few impact plays. Like
that's the message that Spo is sending, right? It's, hey, if you're not going to bring it the first 6 minutes you play, then you might not get a chance to bring it at all, right? Because he got something 45 seconds left in the third quarter when again Spo is clearly searching for something at that point. But if I thought it was the right coaching move. The Heat got back into the game when they benched Kel'el. He was not good. Yeah. All that rim protection, all that stuff, that's theoretical. He was not bringing that in those first 6 minutes. If anything, he was the problem. They were giving up a ton of points in the paint at the beginning of the game. And you know, Jackson Hayes starting in place of DeAndre Ayton, who was not even available, and everybody sees that, and you circle it, and you say, okay, Kel'el, now's your chance. They don't even have their starting center in there. They got Jackson Hayes, who a year ago was barely even, he was clinging on to a spot in the league.
Yeah.
And you're the first round pick. You're the guy that they didn't trade for Kevin Durant. All these things, all these expectations that's been thrust upon him. Like, all right, go do it. And he didn't. And Jackson Hayes came out like his pants were on fire, and Kel'el came out like he was still in bed and hadn't even put his pants on. And I think that's Spo sending the message of, if you're not going to bring it these first 6 minutes, then you're not going to get a chance to bring it at all. And I'm here for it, man. Like, you got to come out with the urgency. I get it that he's young and all these things, but like, this is the job, man. You're in the NBA. Like, why? What's with the sleepwalking at the beginning of these games? It's the thing that Erik Spoelstra is always on him with. It's bring the energy, bring the urgency, and bring it from the very beginning. Bring it during Summer League. Bring it during preseason. Maybe you don't think it matters right now, but all of it matters all the time.
Yeah. He's not doing anything defensively. Was okay rebounding, 4 rebounds in 12 minutes of play. 3 of 3 from
horrible.
the floor. Yeah, I mean,
and he gave up a bunch. He just kept getting beat to the spot. Like in those first 6 minutes, it was just so ugly. I didn't blame Spo for benching him. By the way, nobody does. Like I didn't even see anybody on Twitter being like, "What's Spo doing?" Like he was that bad that even like the Kel'el Ware apologists were out there being. Okay, let's zoom out a little bit here though, because you've been on this. It's been a disappointing start to the season for Ware. He is he has the lowest plus minus on the team.
Yeah.
At minus 4.4 per game. He's being outscored going into this game, so that's not even including this one. The Heat have been outscored by a total of, I'm pulling it up now, 22 points in the 22 points with Kel'el Ware on the floor going into this game, and it got worse in this one. So I don't know what you do with him at this point other than just coach him hard. And maybe it was partly just the first 6 minutes that Spo pulled him for. Maybe it was partly also just kind of building to this moment because of how disappointing he's been lately.
Yeah, I wonder too. I mean, you're going up against Ivica Zubac on.
Yikes.
Yeah, and that's not an ideal matchup for Ware. I mean, I talk about the exact opposite in terms of rebounding effort and just overall impact plays. That's what Zubac brought to the table.
Zubac tried hard all the way to this point of his career, right? This was a guy that was out of the league, in the league, and then it played at an all-star level last year.
So do you roll him back out there again? I don't know that you can afford to, but you really don't have any options. Bring Nico back into the starting lineup? Yeah, I don't know. Like, there really isn't. Do you start Jaime and try to go small? I mean, there aren't a lot of choices here for Spo. I mean,
you do. Again, so the Clippers were going to start Kawhi and Derek Jones Jr. at the forward spots with Zubac. So they really only play one true big. So if you wanted to go small for a game, you could do it. You could go Bam, and heck, you can go Wiggins at the 4, have Wiggins guard Kawhi. And depending on if Norm Powell is going to be available, Norm Powell was upgraded to, I think, what was it, questionable? So he went from doubtful the last game to questionable for this one. So we'll see. We know Powell's going to want to play against the Clippers, right? The team that didn't extend him. He's going to want. I really want the Norm Powell revenge game. I mean, that is what people would be tuning in for. So let's hope he plays. Let's hope he plays, and I guess we'll see what Spo does with Kel'el there. But we're going to end it there for tonight. We got another recap coming up in a few more hours, I guess, David. I don't know. I'm delirious. It's 1 a.m. So we got another game later today, I guess. Thanks for making Locked On Heat your first listen every day. For your second listen, find the Locked On Fantasy Basketball. Josh Lloyd hosts the #1 fantasy basketball podcast, giving you daily tips and helping you win your league, all while making you a smarter NBA fan. Find Locked On Fantasy Basketball on YouTube and wherever you listen to podcasts. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.